Always a pleasure for you to share your wisdom with us regarding real estate.
Okay.
So today I want us to talk about something that I think every agent under the sun has gone through.
That's good. That should be an interesting topic.
So I want us to talk about the highs and lows of real estate.
Okay.
So as a real estate agent, our life is very turbulent.
True.
It's like being a sailor or a pilot.
Yes. Yes.
So you're sailing or flying in rough conditions.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of highs and lows, both mentally and financially.
True.
So this year when COVID came, I think it got everyone like unaware.
Yes.
And things just changed.
True.
Deals that were in the pipeline fizzled out. People who were supposed to come into the country, they left. So it has definitely been a tough period.
It has been. COVID was a magnifying glass.
It was.
For everyone. So if there's something you aren't doing right or you're doing right, it was more exposed now during this time.
It's a wake-up call.
It is. So it put everything on a magnifying glass, and it just helped us to see what we should be doing as individuals and as business people. Yeah.
So I want us to talk about the highs and lows, the peaks and valleys of real estate.
Okay.
So that one, we can prepare for them better in the future.
Okay.
Because I think they'll always be there. They come in different forms.
Yes.
So sometimes it comes, for Kenya, I think it has come in different forms over the years. So there's a time it came as post-election violence. There's a time it came as the Westgate terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Now it has come as COVID.
Yes.
So how do we prepare? First of all, what are the highs and lows of real estate? And on average, how long does a high last?
Yes.
How long does a low last?
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that, given your 10-year experience.
Okay. Let me start by saying I love to teach, because in teaching then you are able to give profound lessons on how things work. So I'm saying that because life, the way our maker, God designed it, is for life to have a rhythm. So life has a rhythm. Think about when you go to sleep. Do you just suddenly sleep up?
No.
And then wake up, like a robot? You don't. You go into this deep sleep, pole, and then in the morning you start getting out of the sleep. Slowly. So your sleep has a cycle. They say we have our sleep cycles are 90 minutes of going deep in and out, and the depth of how at the beginning you go in quickly. You will see it looks like. So a year has seasons. Different countries have different seasons. Think about in the ancient days, you see there are patterns of how things will happen.
Even in the Bible? In
the Bible, yes.
They say 7 years of
famine and 7 years of drought. So the interesting thing is there is a concept called the black swan effect. They say I think it says 4 years, something good or something bad will happen. Something bad will happen every 4 years. So something small and something big will happen.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years. So what does that tell you? You should expect for bad events to happen. Just like Joseph in the Bible was told, prepare for the harvest and prepare and harvest, because there will be a famine for 7 years. So that's what we don't do. When you look back in our real estate market, there have been a lot of highs and lows. And real estate, just like global crunches, they happen probably, I think, periodically 8 to 10 years, give or take. You could add plus or minus 2, and you can see there's a pattern. From 2007, something will always take place. It always happen.
And the good ones, how often do they happen?
They are in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. When you look at when did our market start peaking? When Kibaki came in, the market started peaking around 2008. Add 7 years. 2015 is when we reached our peak. When you look back and do a proper calculation, you see that the market steadily peaked until 2015. But between 2015 and 2017, some people felt and thought we are still at our peak. But what you'll notice is anyone who bought property around 2015
regrets.
exactly.
Because they bought double of.
Because at 2017 the prices of properties are not appreciating, and anyone who bought property at the price there was at the same price as what it was in 2015 are struggling to sell it at the same price.
And they'll never get that price, not in the near future.
Not in the near future. They might have to wait out another 7 to 10 years. So 5 years, when we reached our peak, 5 years, today we are 5 years from when we reached our peak. I never thought that, personally, I didn't think we'll ever go down. I honestly...
Those were good times.
I thought Kenyan market was going to be doing well for the longest.
And I think everyone thought that, especially investors.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because they pumped in some real money into the real estate sector. They
did. Personally, I remember really having a conversation with God, and he just told me it's going to go down. That was 2015. And I was like,
how?
No. 5 years down the line, I look back and say he was right. Because right now, the prices are lower, the rents have gone down. Significantly. And if you use the period of the 7-year period, you realize that we might go down, might be in this space for another 2 or 3 years. So give or take, as I said, I can't give an accurate figure, but there's an estimate of 8 for real estate, and market booms and plunges. There's about 7 years thereabout.
So 7 years of high, then 7 years of low
in real estate. Yes.
So we should expect it.
We should expect it. And the real estate is usually the last one to catch up.
In the economy.
The effect, yes. Because it's not liquid. The real estate market is not a liquid market. So when you think of real estate for an agent in terms of highs and lows, you have to think of the long highs and long lows, as in the long term. Then there's a short term. Now, within that year, what are the seasons? So, and the seasons have highs and lows as well.
Let's talk about that within the year.
Within the year.
Yeah.
So, as I said, everything has a rhythm. We don't have good statistics, or rather reports in Kenya of highs and lows, but from our data, being in the industry for long, you can pick from what has sold, which are highs and which are lows. Yeah, and I'll show you that there's a highs and lows. When in your career as a realtor, when have you had the most rentals or sales? When have you had the most business?
During the
Which
year.
quarter? Yeah.
For me, it's usually November, December, January, February. For the past 4 years. So I've been in real estate for the past 4 years. Ironically, I joined when things are going down. So,
yeah, this is good.
But January, November, December, January, February. Those are my 4 months that are the peak.
Yeah, and when I compare with the American industry, their peak is January, February, March, April.
So there's a correlation.
There's a correlation.
Why is that?
Well, for some reason, human beings, since they're emotional, they like to make decisions.
During that period?
When did they make the decision? December, January. That's when they think of, that's when they actually try to execute dreams to go along with the new year. Most people make decisions at the beginning of the year. That's when people make resolutions. And so it just happens that during that time, people started planning in the period you're talking about, November, December. They start thinking, and they may not be actively planning, but they may start thinking about it. Some good planners will have started way early and will have started planning for purchases probably at the beginning of the year. It just happens. It just happens.
And this is year after year after year?
Year after year. It's the same. And I want to believe it's the same worldwide, that most of those decisions will be made, or rather actions will be made at that time. But the decisions start a bit early.
As early as?
2-3 years. But the real decision starts a quarter before. So the quarter of October, November and December. Because you see, real estate is not something you wake up and just say, I want to spend today 20 million. No, man. You can't just wake up and say, I want to spend 20 million. Especially if you're not a frequent investor. And majority of people in their lifetime, they'll spend their money on buying a house, wedding. There's a third one. They usually spend on 3 areas. Yes. So yeah, a house for retirement, their wedding, and I think it's either a car or college for their kids.
College must be college, because college is expensive.
It is very expensive. That's it. So they won't wake up and just say, I want to go and buy a house.
It's a lifetime decision.
They have been thinking about it, but the moment they decide now, we need to take off, it's usually a quarter before.
So what should agents be doing to navigate? So we've established that the highest peak is usually
the first quarter, January, February, March, April, going into April. The lowest peak is now the second quarter, so June, July, thereabout. So May, June, July, and ending August. Then December is usually higher than the middle of the year.
Sort of moderate.
It is, yeah.
So what are the activities that an agent should do during high seasons, and what should they do during the low seasons? Because it's easy to like lose your morale during a low season, and you can even tell in your morale as an agent. When money is coming in, you're on fire. You just don't stop. You're on a roll. But then when things go down, then it's easy to lose your focus. It's easy to lose your morale. So how do we plan ourselves in such a way that whether if we are down or up, we're doing these activities to keep us on track with our long-term goals? Okay. What agents need to do is they need to, first of all, realize to match the season, their activities with the season. So think of it this way. When the market is going up, should you be resting? No. When the market is going down, and you're trying to really, just boost your activities and make some sales, it can be a bit of challenging if people are really not making decisions around that time. So the idea is not to be going in the opposite direction with the market, but to ride with it. And so when the market is resting, take time also to do activities that allow you to rest. Like what? Like at that period at the valleys, they say, imagine this is a curve. That's how the market undulates. There's a curve that at the bottom of that valley is when you can take your leave days. Go on holiday. You can go on holiday, but just for a few days. What I mean is that you love understand. So you already understand. But I love it. Every time a service provider sends me a note, get so much. Those kind of things. That's the time to send them, at least to send them things that help you to connect with them. That's the time to send them some market reports, because this is the time they are relaxing. Nervous. They are relaxing, and the market is relaxed to think about how do I. What's my next plan in the next 1 or 2 quarters? So an agent needs to synchronize. A lot of soft selling. Soft selling. It doesn't mean you shouldn't generate leads. You need to continue generating leads, but not as hard as when the curve is going up. And when the curve is going down, it means you generate leads and now you're getting a lot of transactions. That's the time to start focusing on transactions. But at the valley is when now you take care of these clients, that you closed. So you take care of them around that time. But you don't generate as much leads around that time. And don't forget, you need to schedule your activities, because you're going to get out of that depression. So you need to schedule some activities that to start helping you to pick, and as you increase your lead generation activities. So many of the agents do not understand this. They do not understand that you need to ride with the season. And so they do not plan their calendar for these activities. It's like being a farmer. Yes, thank you, Andy. It's like being a farmer. You need to realize there's time for sowing and there's a time for reaping. There's a time for weeding. As the Bible says, there's a season for everything. So during that time is when so you need to calendar it. Literally calendar how my activities should look like, or what should I be doing around this time. And one of the
things that most agents forget to do is to take a break.
Wacha tu nione tu client mmoja. So, but it's very important to take a break.
It's very important. There's this race that's called, I think it's called Idiotic race. It's done in Alaska. That name is difficult. Idiotic. I can't pronounce it. But this race is people should go and research about it or read about it. It's one thing that will teach you the importance of taking a break in life.
And how often should we take
90 days
90
maximum.
days?
After 120 days, after 90 days you should take a break. Don't extend it beyond 120 days, you'll burn out. So can I tell you about the race a little bit, so that especially for our audience, so they can understand what I mean? So there was a time, there was these kids in Alaska who were very sick, and then a shipment arrived with the medicine for these kids. And so guys were mandated to go and pick the medicine about 1,048 miles. So that's about 1,600 kilometers. And that place is a long time ago. So they weren't using choppers. They had to use dogs to go that far to get the medicine and bring it back to the children. So cut long story short, they went and they brought the medicine back. So to commemorate that, they created an event of racing, same mileage. And the first person to do it successfully did it within 20 days, from 21 to 20 days. So then other people came in from other countries to do the same, to participate in this race. The Americans decided, we are the hard workers people. We are the people who are good at doing things hard, and So you know what they did? They trained their dogs to run for 24 hours. Literally, they trained their dogs to run for 24 hours. They'll put them on a treadmill to run for 24 hours. And then
after 24 hours is over?
I mean, then is when they will take the break. The dogs will take a break.
Oh.
So, cut the long story short, in that race, the dogs were able to, this team was able to get to the point and back in 16 days. But the dogs were dead within 50% of the dogs died within half a year. Within a year, yes. Because they
overworked.
They overworked. But there's this guy, I think it's called Martin. What he did, he said, I'll know what I do. I'll do what I know what to do best. And what he did is that he decided his dogs will rest more than they run. So they will run for 13 hours. They will rest for 13 hours, and they will rest for 13 hours and run for 11 hours. Guess how long it took him to do the race? Just guess.
It was shorter.
Yeah, it was
8 days.
Just 8 days.
No way.
He halved it by 8 days.
Because they were well rested.
They are well rested. It's the same thing. If every employer says when the employees go for leave and they come back rejuvenated and energized. Don't worry about how much business will be waiting for you when you come back. You need to have a rest in your life and in your business. Every quarter, if you can pace it quarterly, you will be at a better place. You will generate more business.
You will.
Yeah, and you can take that rest, some of those days in that rest, to go and now think about your 2 days. Assuming that you've been developing yourself as a person, there's a lot you've forgotten by that time. So you need to refresh, review your dreams, and then ensure that you calibrate with the actions you're supposed to take in the next quarter.
Okay.
So that's another reason why you should go for a break, so that you can calibrate. If you don't, then before you know it, you are running in the wrong direction in the next quarter when you're supposed to be running in a different direction. So that's another reason. It gives you a lot of energy when you realize, oh, this is what I did in this quarter. I did this. There are a couple of things I did well. There are a couple of things I didn't do well, and I can do better in the next quarter if I just adjust. So when you sit down to adjust, you come out with energy. You've rested and you have a new vision. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Because and it's always so enlightening to hear you, because then you realize things that have been happening, but you didn't realize the reason.
Yes.
Because personally, I get burnt out every quarter, but I didn't realize that it's something that happens across the board, that naturally every quarter you get tired.
Yes.
So that's eye-opening.
Yes.
That every quarter you have that period where you're feeling very tired.
Yes.
Your activities go low. So it's a signal to your body to rest.
It is.
I never thought of it.
It is.
Like
It's a signal. So So think of it this way: the agent should match the seasons, the year's seasons, or the customer behavior with their calendar. So if they know their customers will be wanting to buy at this season, that's when they're actively serving them. And when their customers are going, down and taking a break, they can also do the same and just make sure they remain in touch one way or another. They can schedule newsletters, they can schedule many things to go out around that time. And your break could be 5 days, 5 days every quarter. Because think about it, formal employment gives employees 21 working days. Divide them by 4. It's just 5 days every 90 days.
Because they realize they need that.
Yeah, that's all they need. Every 5 days, every quarter take 5 days off.
That is very
and set aside 2 or 3 days for
and
just
for us
planning.
to also understand that business can't always be going high.
Yes, it can.
You'll have high days and low days.
It's good to understand that. Even in your low days, you may have checks you close in your transaction coming in, and that's the time now you are servicing those things. That's the time you're dealing with a lot of contracts, negotiation, inspection. Take that time
To service the clients.
The other problem is agents don't plan their money to service them during that. That sounds familiar for many agents, right?
Of course.
They don't.
Because money is like a drug.
Yeah.
When it comes, you're on a high.
Yes.
And you're generous and your tastes change, and it's hard to imagine a low time will come.
Just like Joseph was told to put a reserve for 7 years, everyone should work towards that. That could be a long-term investment, a house, money market funds. So let's come back to a year's or 2 years plan. You should set aside between 18 months to 2 years of reserve. If you've not started yet, you can start with 3 months.
And build on it.
6 months and build on it. Because you want to, in that low season, you want to be busy spending your money in marketing activities. Make sense? You know very well that there is a season where the clients will not
and
be
it's
buying as much.
counterproductive because when seasons are low, that's when you see people stop paying for buy rent.
Yes.
People stop boosting on Facebook.
Yes.
People stop. So it's the time that you should keep doing. Don't stop.
That's a very good aha moment right there. That when people are stopping to do stuff and you are in front of your client, you are likely to get more clients because the others have stopped doing the activity. So you're the one who's most visible. So that's the time you should be busy getting in front of them, meaning marketing.
So during low
Exposing.
seasons, you've said we do marketing.
Yes.
And we do the servicing of the clients.
Yes, and marketing. So you do a bit some marketing combined with lead generation, which involves a bit more of prospecting. So lead generation is prospecting and marketing combined. Yeah. So, but you've said it very well. You do, during the season, you do marketing, and not necessarily putting stuff on billboards.
Soft.
But getting in touch, direct market reports. Just rented, just sold. Let them know you just rented, just because you just come out of the season of renting and selling. Just let them know.
The time to let them know, communicate your wins.
Yes.
Aha.
Yeah.
And what do you do during high seasons? What are the activities you should do
during
when things are higher?
So during high season, that's the time you'll be running around because the lead generations form part of high season. Okay, and when you reach the peak, you stop because there's an amount of lead you generate and you'll not be able to handle if you have not started scaling your business. Now you start transacting. Okay, so if lead generation, you've done some lead generation, then you start. High season is conversion. So generating is marketing and prospecting. Conversion is basically having contracts signed with clients. And both on the buyer side and both on the seller side, and as those contracts are being signed, transactions start streaming in. So high season is what for conversion, basically contracts. Okay,
closed deals. Some lead generation will be coming in even from 2 quarters ago. That's one thing about our business. You may be doing business right now, but because of a quarter where you get in touch with clients, and it could be 2 quarters away.
and then now transaction starts happening. So you close, but you reduce a bit of your lead generation because you don't want to be overwhelmed.
That's interesting.
Yes.
You also have to regulate your lead generation.
Regulate. Yes, regulate. Because you think about it. If your capacity is 50 leads, it doesn't mean you can't increase it, because your potential is not what you compare with others. Your potential is what you compare with where you want to get to. If your capacity is 50 leads, then you need to be working on how I can increase my capacity. That may involve hiring an assistant, okay? Or improving how I do my activities, how I spend my time. So if your capacity is lead generation, if your capacity is like 50 listings, if you do 100, you will send away 50 clients who are unsatisfied.
Regardless of how efficient you are.
So efficient, if you're improving your efficiency, it means you're improving towards doing more than 50 to 100 for it, as we are hypothetically speaking. Okay, so
during highs, it's also important to make sure you don't overextend your capacity.
Yes, not to stop, but you taper it so that you have enough to give you leads for the next season. You understand? You just reduce a little bit to the capacity, because you see, and this is where we say it's good for an agent to be with an organization that understands performance standards. So your performance standards will show you how much you've done and how much is left. Then you just distribute them across your calendar. So that's why I recommend that. That's the reason why I do what I do. I help agents and train them to see, to have a performance standard, so they know how many calls they need to be doing, how many showings, how many meetings, so they can regulate themselves.
And to build capacity to be able to service their leads.
Exactly. As we said last time, there are different levels of agents. There's one who's in the comfort stage, there's one who's on mastery stage, and there's one who's in leverage stage or people stage. So that as you grow, then you're increasing your efficiency and your effectiveness, then you have increasing your capacity to handle more business. Okay, but while you're still, it depends where you are as an agent, and it's good to appreciate and say, I'm at this stage and I need to get to the next level.
Wow.
And seek
help.